he's done everything he's been asked to do. He started off gently and it's built up, and he's been very good. He's been around Cheltenham. He's been good around Kempton too, which is, a totally different ball game. No, I think everything has gone well. He's been very professional. He's got a good attitude. He's got a lot of talent. How much talent has Mr. Min got? We don't know, but there's him and Bouverdere. I mean, they're pretty similar. We tried to split them, but we can't. So they're both staying over 2 miles. Physically, they're not terribly similar, but they've done everything right. And again, they've got the pace. If you could, you'd move one of them up to the Neptune, but they're not. They're 2 milers, so you have to stay where you are and take each other. They've got to run in the right race for themselves. Doesn't matter what else we've got. They've both got big futures in front of them, but this is their first big day in the sunshine, if you like. I hope there'll be more festivals to come from both of them, but I think they're pretty realistic. I think they're really nice novices.
Can you split them?
No, luckily I don't have to. I wouldn't. I think the world of them both, but as I say, if Min is the next Duval following on Faheen, then we've got plenty to think about. But I think they are talented, so it's a good race to start in, but it'll be, we'll see.
And moving on to the Champion Hurdle, a race you've won 5 times before. The picture looks a bit more wide open now with Faheen out.
Yeah, it does, but I mean, look at the strength they have. I mean, Faheen comes out, so they just move any power in. Yeah, great. I mean, it sort of it tells you everything. That you can just, he's got that amazing strength in depth where he can just manoeuvre the forces to cover everything. So. And even if I'm thinking, oh, good, well, that takes any power out of the mares or something like that. So in comes Vroom Magic. I mean, it's crazy. So we just got to take them on and take our punishment or enjoy maybe the odd moment in the sunshine. If we run 4 or 5, then at least it'll mean 4 or 5 have got there in one piece. Peace and Co. Look, it hasn't been ideal so far, but we know
he's had a wind up since we last saw him.
Yeah, I mean, the trouble is that I know there's a lot of contention with these things, wind up, but it's not. It's a procedure that takes 5 days in bed, if you like. This isn't any dramatic operation that's going to change a lot of lives. It might help, yes, but he's back in action. He had a few days off, and now he's cantering again, and away we go. Things have got to go well from here, and if they do, he'll be there. And I have to admit, it's a bit the same with my 10 to yours. And this is a wacky way of trying to win a Champion Hurdle with a horse that hasn't run for 2 years and hasn't seen a racecourse. But look,
has it been problems that have kept him off this season, or ground?
Problems really have been, yes, he's had little things. I mean, a sore shin, which is anybody can get one. It's pretty young horses get it a lot, but not at his age. No, the weather hasn't helped us at all. He wants good ground. We could have run at Wincanton last weekend, but that wasn't on the agenda in heavy ground. No, we'd rather do it our own way and have, you can at least you can control everything as you wish, rather than you can't do that in a race.
And Hargam and Top Notch, would it be fair to say they're the owner's second string, respectively?
Well, because interesting, they are both. Hargan follows in his JP's as well as my 10 to yours, and Top Notch is Simon and Isaac's that follows into Peace and Co. So, look, they've both got a couple there, which is great. In an open year, they'd both be realistic. I have to say their first strings probably are Tent and Peace and Co. But look, if they don't get there, the other two are. Well, they're good subs.
In sign of a victory?
He would be totally ground dependent. Now, what chances we've got of getting good ground on the Tuesday, I have no idea, because this has been the wettest winter I've remembered. It's very wet underneath. I can't believe it's going to be good. And even if it got to good ground on the Sunday before, I bet he'd be watering it to try and slow it down. So, his chances are they're in the weather bracket, if you like, but if it was good ground, he can't run in a handicap, he's too high, but we all know he's probably just that few pounds below a Champion Hurdle horse.
And you mentioned the knock-on effect of Faheen being out of the Champion Hurdle, any power in. Do you rate your chances with Polly Peacham a bit more in the Mares Hurdle?
Yes, but then doesn't Vroom come into it? I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm not going to try and guess what Willie's doing. I don't suppose he's probably not trying to guess what I'm doing either, because he probably doesn't mind. But yeah, we'll take him on. Polly's been great. This will probably be her swan song. And with Marfilal, she'll probably go out at the festival as well, and both off to stud. But Polly she's been fantastic. I mean, she didn't look like winning it last year until Annie Power fell. Then we got landed in front, thought we'd nearly stolen a race we shouldn't win, and then another one of Willie's comes and does us. So literally nabs her on the line. So, I mean, yeah, it was cruel at the time, but to be fair to Willie, he deserved it because he was going to win it anyway. But she's been great. She's had a good year. She's in good form.
And the Mares Novice race, you must fancy your chances in that.
Yeah, it's a good new race. I mean, I'm very keen on the mares, and we've always got a good selection of them, so it's good. I mean, Richard Calvin Hughes, who actually is the sponsor, Trollhouse Stud, he's got Chokawaka, who won yesterday. That was good. That was her first run of the season. She's obviously had problems along the way, and the weather. We've been waiting for better ground. She will be better on good ground. She's good. Robin's Reef, Richard again owns half with Ronnie Bartlett, so she'll come into that. She's been good. Again, totally ground dependent. Wanted to run her again, couldn't. But she's good on good ground. And Bloody Mary, she'd handle softer ground if it was necessary, and she's unbelievable, very little filly, but great character, lovely. And she's only had one run in England, and she did it well. I was pleased with her. So I think they're realistic.
A couple for the World Hurdle, Bobsworth and Whisper. Is it the plan to run them both?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, Bob. Well, he's another on the comeback trail, the Sprinter and Bobsworth and Tent and goodness knows what else. They were the heroes of a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, and he enjoyed coming back to hurdles. He won that good race at Aintree earlier on in the year, and he's in good form. He loves Cheltenham. I mean, he loves the festival. He's won at 3 of them. And he loves coming up that hill. So, why not? Whisper, he had a horrible time last winter, everything went wrong. And he actually came into this race virtually using it as a prep for Aintree, which he'd won the Aintree Hurdle the year before. And which he did again last year. He ran really well in the World Hurdle, but had no prep at all. Whereas this year, I think he's coming from a very good place, a much better place anyway. And maybe I've got the Aintree Whisper coming into Cheltenham this year, I hope.
And looking at the Triumph Hurdle, another race you've got a fantastic record in, Fix Le Cap and Protect the Flow, both on course for the race?
I think Fix Le Cap, forget about Haydock. I just put a line through it and sadly just have to put it down to experience and say that he got beaten, but Cheltenham will be a different ballgame. Protect the Flow, we're sort of slightly thinking maybe not. I think he's very naive still. The Triumph can be a hard race, and maybe this isn't the time to throw him into that. The other one I would seriously consider would be Consul de Tay, who was actually third in that Cheltenham trial. And I think he's a very useful person, and he might well have a run in this because he's got to run somewhere, and he doesn't need to be losing his maiden round Warwick, so he might as well lose it in the Triumph, finally.
And 007, what's the plan for him?
Almost certainly Neptune. We did go up to he went from 2 miles in the Tolworth to 3 miles at Musselburgh, just to see, really. He definitely stayed 3 miles. 3 miles at Cheltenham is a different ballgame, though. 2.5 is probably enough for him now, so he'll come into the Neptune, yeah. That looks a stiff race, the Neptune, mind you. I think Yanworth is one of the horses that stands out for me in all these races, so it might be hard, but I think he's a good prospect.